Hello, welcome to today's video. We are on page 172 of the Keyboard Musicianship Book 1. This is harmonization with right-hand chords and left-hand bass notes. So this was introduced to us previously. It says here that there are two examples here requiring the right hand to supply the melody and fill out the harmony while the left hand plays single tones in the bass. So depending on what the chord symbol is, that will be the note we play. So pretty simple. Essential tones with the triads, remember, we need to include the root and the third. Those need to be included. And then, of course, essential tones with the seventh chords must be the root, the third, and the seventh. So let's go ahead and take a look here first at Faith of Our Fathers. The first thing we want to do is play the melody according to the given fingering at the beginning. So let's go ahead and play that. So this is not definitive fingering because we don't exactly know what is going to be added in the right hand when we harmonize it, okay? So now in the left hand, we're just gonna simply play the bass notes. Let's go ahead and place that left hand there in G position, which is what it says to do here. Let's play the bass notes according to the chord symbols. The rhythm will change when they change. Here we go. 2, 3, G, 2, 3, D, 2, 3, G, 2. Like this. G, 2, B, C, 2, 3, D, 2, 3, G, 2, 3. So it's very simple there. Just bass notes according to those chord symbols. Now we have to add some harmony in the right hand. Okay, so first of all, let's think about our essential tones. The right hand beat number, or the first measure, the composer of this book already added, well, they added some essential tones. Yes, a third. Yes, the root is doubled. And they also happen to add a fifth, which is not necessary, which is a little bit too much for this exercise, but we're just going to have to deal with it, okay? So let's not do that for the rest of our piece here. Let's make it a little bit easier by adding simply one note, two at the most, for the seventh chords. Okay, so we're going to have to do this with the left hand because remember, we're thinking or considering all notes for both hands when playing. Okay, so let's go ahead and play. So it's really only necessary to play those three notes right there. I suppose if you want to add a G, you can if you want. It's okay. Okay, now what we have here is G major. Remember the third and the root are essential. B is the third of the chord, and G is the root. Since we don't want to unnecessarily double anything out of the ordinary, and we don't want to move too much, I'm going to go ahead and play that note right there. D is the bare minimum. We can also add a G, which will double the bass, and that's perfectly fine for now. Okay, but the bare minimum is going to be that one right there, just adding the D, which is a fifth. And then we have the next chord here on measure number 3, D7. So far we have here D, essential tone. A is a fifth. It is not essential. So that means we need to add a third. And that third is F sharp. And we also need to add a seventh. C. So from here, we're going to have to go ahead with a C and an F sharp. And then we're going to go ahead and come up here back to G major. Same thing we did for the second measure there. Okay, so let's go ahead and put all that together. Notice here that I did not make the rhythm exactly the same with the harmony notes. I left the melody to be its own entity and play with the quarter notes, while the harmonies were only dotted half notes. We're simply going to make the harmonies according to what the chord symbols are. So let's go ahead and put everything together for that first system. 2, 3. Now you may have noticed that I did a little finger substitution from the first B to the second, and that was to allow me to come and stretch down a little bit. So you need to consider fingering when you're making these harmonies. Okay, and of course you also need that 4 there to be on A. Okay, and then your left hand's going to jump down here. Notice that you're only going to be adding D for the first measure on the second system because your melody is moving downward, descending, so there's no need to add a G because the G is going to be coming soon anyway. Notice there that we have G/B, G major in first inversion. Let's make sure we have all of our chord tones here. Our essentials are root, right there, and the third, right there. For the sake of harmony, making it 3 voices at least, we're going to keep D as the dotted half note. So that's really very good voice leading right there. And say, what's next? We go down to C. Now remember, we don't want to overkill this harmony. It's only essential notes. So we have here the root and the third, and we see that it is applying all the essentials that we need. The melody is right there, it's kind of low. If we were to add another note, it would be above the melody, which is not correct. Plus, we don't want to stray too far from where we just were. And then we have G there. Hey, there's the fifth, part of the harmony. And then once again, we are repeating what we did on measure number 3. Now, because our G is the PAC there, perfect authentic cadence, I'm going to go ahead and add D and B there at the bottom, B being the third, but because we don't want to have such a big gap between, we're going to add the D right there. There are a lot of voice leading rules that are involved when it comes to composing in harmony. We will slowly learn about them as we go along, but let's go ahead now and review everything together. And there you have it. That should be the correct way to harmonize Faith of Our Fathers, okay? So make sure that you simply don't just copy the way I'm doing it here in the video. Seek to understand why the decisions were made about how to harmonize. Now let's go to all the pretty little horses. So this is South Carolina music here. We are in the key of B flat. So the first thing we're going to do, obviously, is to play the melody. Let's start off by playing the melody according to the fingering given. Rest. Rest. 2. Rest. Same thing here. Okay, very good. Interesting little melody there. It's got some interesting rhythm choices. But remember, this is not simply a melody, it is going to be harmony also. Okay, so after we have played the melody, let's now consider the left hand according to the chord symbols. Let's go ahead and play those notes. 2, 3, rest. This will be the same since there's nothing there. D, this is in first inversion. E flat. E flat again for the next two measures. Oh, excuse me, not E flat. B flat, my apologies. B flat, 2, 3, 4 for the next one. And then again. E flat, B flat for the next two, B flat, and then D, E, 2, 3, 4, back to B flat. Very good. So that covers what's going to be happening in the left hand. Now, when harmonizing, remember, we need to put both hands together and consider what needs to be done. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and place our fingerings according to what we have here. The first measure is given. And we see that is going to be B flat, the first or the tonic and the third are given. Now it moves away from the third to play the fifth twice, and for 2 beats we don't exactly have a third, but we're gonna say that based on the first beat, the third is implied in the harmony. So there's no need to have to add another note in the left hand as harmony. So you can see we already have a dotted half note there. We don't want to add more harmonies here. Okay, so implied harmony with the third. Also for the next measure, rest, and then we have third here, B flat, first inversion. 2. Once again, implied harmony on beat number 3. Even though on beat number 3 there really is no G there, we still consider it from the previous 2 beats. Let's go now to measures 5 and 6. Guess what? It appears to be pretty similar to the first system. We're just adding some more rhythms in the melody. Now here, notice we have a dotted quarter eighth rhythm, and we also have an eighth rest, and I believe that is to allow for the right hand to move up to its new hand position. And we're going to go ahead and imitate what's being played there in measure number 3. Okay, and then we have a pickup to get us back to the root, or to the bottom there. Now, I'm gonna not provide as much explanation about the choices I made. I would like for you to create them on your own and to understand and be able to explain why you made those choices. But I am going to explain about the last 2 measures. Okay, so we were here, just like we did for measure number 4, measure number 8. We're also going to choose the same harmony here in the right hand. Now what I did here is I played B flat, but then I realized I already have 2 B flats here in the right hand and the left, which is way too many roots. And so remember, in order to complete an essential tone, we need simply the third and the root. And so instead of playing the octave from here, I'm simply gonna bring down the third with the root, by itself. And that will satisfy the harmony there. No need to add a fifth. If you want to add a fifth for extra color, I suppose you can add that as well, but that is a compositional decision for you to make on your own. But we're simply going to add that D, and that'll be fine because the melody is what's important in this piece here. All right, so those are the decisions we have made. Let's go ahead and try first of all to play this without writing it out. Try to do it on your own without looking at the music or without the harmonies given. Then once you've created it, create an audio recording, send it to me, and then if you want, you can write in the answers. Okay, thanks very much, and we will see you next lesson.